Hi, my name is Tom, President and Dictator for Life at 515comics.com. This is my first ever, I'm going to call them Thomcasts, because I'm funny. Anyway, mostly just because I can't remember to say vlog, and I think it's kind of a stupid word. So, it's essentially a vlog. Yeah, so this is my first one. I thought maybe I would just kind of introduce myself a little bit to anybody who might watch this and doesn't know who I am. Although I imagine most of you watching probably know who I am, because I don't think a lot of people who don't know me are going to stumble across this. But anyway, the idea of the Thomcasts, which are going to be sometimes video, sometimes just audio, is mostly just going to be kind of I'd like it to be a weekly journal of sorts, like just an update for myself, to kind of keep me accountable to what it is that I want to be working on. So most of the time, I'm going to be talking about my website and my webcomic, and that would be 515comics.com, and next to The Search for the Ocean Shard, respectively. So, just basically, you know, a way for me to share some ideas, and again, mostly it's for me to, you know, if I tell the internet I'm going to do something, and then I decide, oh, I don't know if I really want to do that or not, I'm accountable, because I told the internet I was going to do it, and so it's just another way for me to motivate myself to do something, to get something done, you know, to make progress. And so actually doing this first video is kind of the first push towards that. You know, I've said I want to do it weekly. Oh, I told the internet I want to do weekly Thomcasts. So I guess I better do it. For now, I'm going to try and keep them pretty short, and probably try and do them as much in a single take as I can without much editing, because I don't know how to do that stuff. And apologies if the video quality is poor, or if the audio is poor, but I'm poor. So, you know, I have this crummy little Dynex off-brand, you know, $10 microphone, and just the camera in my computer. So I'm actually sitting on a very tall stool right now, so that I'm not up to about here, or so that it's not at this weird downward angle, because I have to manhandle the monitor to point down at me. So anyway, so this is going to be a little weird, and hopefully as I keep doing these, they will get better, and I will get better at editing them, and maybe I'll have an intro or something, and that'll be cool. But anyway, so just some little stuff about me, and the things that I'm currently working on that I'm going to be talking about a lot in these Thomcasts. I'm Tom Hotka. I live in Iowa, and about 7 or 8 years ago, when I was in college, I met up with some friends, and at the time I was doing a few comics and posting them to my own website. And yeah, I had a couple friends that were interested in doing their own comics, or had already done some of their own comics, were doing comics, and so we just decided, hey, like, let's just make a community website. And that's how 515comics.com came about, 515 being the local phone area code. So yeah, so right now, I'm currently just working on one comic called Next to The Search for the Ocean Shard. It's a science fiction adventure tale, and I update it 3 times a week over on nextuse.com and 515comics.com. And yeah, so most of my projects are going to be, you know, most of the things I talk about here are going to be revolving around primarily Nextuse, and also 515 Comics, the site as a whole. You know, in the past year or so, Nextuse has really become what I do. You know, I've even started to tell people when I meet them and they ask, like, oh, hey, what do you do? Like, I don't even tell them my job first anymore. I tell them that, oh, I create a webcomic called Nextuse, or, you know, that I'm a cartoonist or whatever. But it's like it's become sort of a defining feature of myself. It's very important to me, and it's what I think about probably the most, more than anything else. So just to kind of talk about some plans for that. The start of this year started 2012. The start of 2012. I finished and released the first graphic novel, which is the first 120 some pages, first 5 chapters of the comic as it appears online, and that was kind of a big deal. It was really like working on that project sort of cemented in me the idea that it's like if I just want this enough and I just work on this enough, I can do whatever I want with it. It felt really good, and I had a lot of support from my friends and family when the book came out, and it was very exciting. And at the release party and in the subsequent months, a lot of people have asked, so, I mean, there's more to the story. When are you going to put out another book? And my answer was always like, I'll give it a year. I'll give it about a year, and then I'll probably start on the second book. Well, it's almost been a year. So I guess I'm going to start on the second book. And that's actually kind of where the idea for the Thomcasts came from, was that I'll be working on the book a lot, and maybe it would be cool to do like a video or audio update for people to just kind of tell them like how the project is going. So I'll probably be doing a lot of posts about the book. Now, as far as like, what work have you done on book 2 so far, Tom? None yet. This is step 1. But all the pages are ready. I mean, currently the comic is in chapter 13? 14. We just started chapter 14, and each book is going to have 5 chapters in it, so I'm well on my way to having the content for book 3 ready. But yeah, that's I think a good place to be, is that you're finishing up the content for the next book as you're working on the current book. I feel like that seems like a pretty good way to go about doing it. Now, in the first book, there was a lot of extra content at the back. After the first 5 chapters, I had a couple friends help illustrate some little short snippets, some little extra stories, and I had commissioned some friends to do some fan art and things like that. And then I had a whole section of like old iterations of the comic from before I started Next to as it appears now, like 6 years ago, I think. About 6 years ago. So I'm going to have a little bit more room at the back of this book, and so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. But that's something I'll be talking about in future Thomcasts, is what I'm going to be putting in the book. You know, what are the things other than the 5 chapters, chapters 6 through 10, that are going to go in there. As I think about it. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to mention I'm probably going to be talking a lot about Professor Trey. Professor Trey is the co-writer of Nextus. I write and draw Nextus and do a lot of the heavy lifting, but I wanted to mention Professor Trey because he is the co-author or co-writer, and essentially what that means is that everything I write goes past him. It's basically, he's my sounding board. He comes up with some of his own ideas and submits them to me and lets me know what I think, and sometimes we put them in the comic, and he lets me know how my writing sounds. He lets me know, does this make sense? Wouldn't it make more sense for him to say something like this? Honestly, in the past year, he's really become very good at helping me punch up my dialogue. So if you go and read the comic, if you've never read it before, or if you just go and reread it again, you might notice that the first 5 to 10 chapters, pretty much he just read the scripts and said yay or nay, but after about chapter 9 or 10, I think he started really getting into it a little bit more, and if you notice that the writing improves after that, it's probably thanks to him. So anyway, so just as a little brief introduction, I'll probably be mentioning Trey a lot, and he may be on Thomcast as well. Not always necessarily going to be just me. So I see that it's about 10 minutes now. I want to thank you for watching. If you did watch this, that's super cool of you. But like I said, I wanted to try and keep these kind of short, so I think 10 minutes is a pretty good goal. Anyway, anything I didn't touch on, I guess we'll get in Thomcast episode 2. So, yeah, see you guys later. I should end it better than that. I should have a cool ending thing that I do. Oh, I didn't think about this. Shit!